Hey guys, we have got the NBA Combine going on. We got the NBA Draft Lottery last night. We finally know where Cooper Flagg will probably land. And we got a bunch more. It's the Big Fuss Show.
Can I please have your attention?
What's all the commotion around here?
What are you talking about?
Let them yap at you.
It's actually very exciting.
Hey guys, it's Brad with College SportsCast. Welcome to the Big Fuss Show. We are on season 3. This is week 38 of season 3. That's right, 38. There's only 52 weeks in a year, guys. We're at week 38 of season 3 here at College SportsCast. That's right. All right, guys, if you're with us on Facebook, we appreciate you. Hit that subscribe page on the page. It's only 99 cents a month, and it does give you your own chat and your own subscribers page that you can post on as well, and we can kind of hit each other up and talk about topics and different things. So, again, it's only 99 cents a month. All right, John. What's up, man? Another week?
Another week.
Another week older.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, so we are in second week of May now. We're wrapping up. We got about maybe 5 or 6 more shows, something like that, before we will wrap up season 3 and take a little bit of a break. We don't take a lot, but we will take a little bit of a break in between. So, John, we got the NBA Draft Combine going on this week. It started on Sunday. We're going to jump into that and give you some news and updates from the Combine. So none of the games have started yet at the Combine. The G League over the weekend had a few games, but none of the games has started yet. But they are doing measurements. They're doing drills and measurements and things of that nature yesterday and today. Hammonds, what updates do you have? What do you want to talk about?
Well, earlier, I think today, there was some big news out of the Combine that Boogie Flan is going to come back to school. That was a big one. I'm kind of surprised by that, to be honest. I thought
he's going to go back to college. He hadn't announced where he's going back to school.
No, I mean, he's going back to college, but I was kind of surprised about that, considering he was a mid-first, second round, maybe later second-round pick. Cooper Flagg did some really good things at the Combine. Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper really showed out. 2 top 5 potential.
I got some questions for you about Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. A quick question for you about them too. Okay, they both played at Rutgers last year, and they're talked about going number 2 and number 3 in this draft. Rutgers was not very good. How do you have the second and the third best player in the draft and not be like they didn't even make the tournament?
I think the way recruiting is now and the way, it's not always about the big schools anymore, like North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, Kansas. I think these kids want to pave their own way. And I think that's what they did with going to Rutgers. Like, it was a new thing for them.
Yeah, but it would be different if you go to Rutgers and you create some buzz and you get somewhere. But they're just going there, and then they're still the second and third pick in the draft.
Well, I think Harper went. A lot of that was because his brother went there. He had a brother that went there. His dad is Ron Harper, for those that don't know, the former Bulls great that played with Michael Jordan. So there's a lot of NBA hoopla in that family. So I think, he's going to pave his way. I think Ace Bailey's going to do really good. I think he's going to be a really good prospect. The one that kind of surprised me was Drake Powell today. They said that he had a 42.5-inch vertical leap.
Yeah, he
and
did.
then a 43-inch max vertical. I think that's
way up there.
That's way up there to hopefully get him a mark to be in the first round possibly. Chaz Lanier done really good. I think Carter Bryant was another one. So there's a lot of Cooper Flagg, like I said. He showed a lot of touch on his three-point shot in some of the combine whatever they do, the different drills, skills and drills deals. So there's so many guys to look at in this draft. I just don't know who is really your sneaky pick, like sleeper. Like there's a few, but like, is this draft really that top heavy? Like beyond Cooper Flagg? Like, is it?
See, I mean, I was watching the NBA draft lottery, and we'll get to that in a minute, but I was watching that last night, and some of the guys on the show last night was talking about how this draft has a lot of talent.
It does.
I don't know, man. I'm just not. 8 or 9 of the top 10 guys are freshmen. The three Duke
you got
guys.
You got Derek Queen. You got the Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, freshman. Cedric Coward was one, which if he does not stay in the draft, he's going to Duke. I think there's a few more. Malowatch from Duke. I think he's rough around the edges a little bit. He's got a very physical attribute to him.
Freshman.
I like Derek Queen, Brad. He's short to be at 6'9", but he's got very good versatility. He can finish. I think he could be a really good fit in an NBA team.
In all honesty, John, when you look at these top 10 guys, that most everybody's got in the top 10, how many in that top 10 do you think will be an all-star in the NBA?
Maybe 1, 2 at the Cooper Flagg's going to be down the road. But beyond
outside of him,
I'll name you one.
Watch might be.
I'll name you one that interests is Jace Richardson from Michigan State. He is one to watch. I'll tell you another one to watch is Asia Newell from Georgia. I think they got a chance to be in that top 15, top 10. You got South Carolina's Kyle Murray.
I like Asia Newell, but I don't think he's going to be an all-star.
No, not this early, no. Danny Wolf is another name to watch from Michigan. He's very good with the ball in his hands. He really demonstrated his athletic ability last year at Michigan. It was a fun season for Michigan last year. And I want to add a name that me and you talked about a few days ago. Yaxel Lindenborg. This kid's got a wide range of attributes, talent. He can do it all, basically. He done it at UAB. Michigan, here's the thing about Michigan. You better be worried because you're going to have to – if he stays in the draft –
might have to stay in.
If he stays in, then Michigan's going to have to go to plan B and try to figure out where to go in the portal because that's why I think Pope we was talking about Kentucky earlier, why Pope kind of lagged off of him, because you take your chances with these NBA guys when they're putting their name in and they got an opportunity to be a mid first round pick. You're taking a chance at them staying in and not coming back. And then when you don't have nobody to replace them in the portal, you're stuck with nothing. You're stuck with just it's a win-lose draw type thing. You don't know. So I think that's why Pope kind of lagged off of him a little bit towards the end.
I think there's a few of them like that. To be honest,
not just Yaxel. There's maybe 2 or 3 in that draft that's probably
might wind up staying in this draft. I mean, I think Yaxel. Honestly, I think he would be done. Like he's probably going to be a top 15, top 20 pick. And I think he has the potential. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this kid has the potential to be one of the top 5 or 10 down the road best players out of this draft.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, he demonstrated that at UAB. He had some really, really good years with what's the coach at UAB? It's lagging my Andy Kennedy.
Kennedy, yeah.
So I think he's doing a really good job at building a program at UAB, and getting Yaxel was a big plus. And I think, to see Yaxel perform to where his abilities are now says a lot about what Andy Kennedy's done with him.
So before we move off of this topic and go to the draft lottery, the next one, I do want to mention that starting tomorrow, for the next couple of days, 2 or 3 days, they will be having games. Oweh is on one of the teams. So is Kobe Brea. Kobe Brea is on another team. They're not on the same team. They're on different teams. I think they're split up into 4 teams of players who are going to participate. Players like Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper and all them who are in the top are not going to be playing in the game.
Did you see where Jonathan Giovanni, who he had at number 59?
59? Was it Williams?
No, it was Kobe Brea.
I thought Kobe Brea was 54.
It was 54.
And one of them, right. And one of them, Kobe Brea was 54.
I think 59 was Williams, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oweh is not listed in the top 2 rounds. He's listed around 70, 72, something like that. I think the kid needs to come back. Madeline says she hopes Oweh plays badly. I want the kid to get some good feedback and come back, because he's not in position to get drafted. I mean, even if he improves and plays really well, he's going to be lucky to be in the top 59 picks. So that's what I got to say. And I'm not sure the games will probably be on an NBA channel. If you've got NBA, Sears is one of them, Stephen, that is playing. He is one of them that is playing. So, but the games do start tomorrow. All right, John, I was watching the NBA draft lottery last night, and first of all, the Dallas Mavericks moved up 10 spots. They had a 1.8% chance to get the number 1 pick. And yes, there is a lot of stuff that goes on. The Mavericks traded Luka to Lakers. Nico Harrison, the GM, has taken a ton, and I mean a ton of heat from Mavericks fans. And then all of a sudden last night, boom, they get the number 1 pick.
Yeah,
Cooper Flagg is the guy. Everybody knows it. There's nobody else that's going to be picked number 1. It's going to be Cooper Flagg.
He's a generational prospect,
yeah.
Just like you said, just months after trading away, getting rid of one.
Yeah.
So basically,
and there's so much talk today that it's set up, that it's this, that it's that. I mean, can we just? I get so tired of all the narratives and the negativity about everything. Listen, the draft lottery's been going on for 41 years. Last night was 41st year. The Dallas Mavericks have never won the number one pick since the lottery started in 41 years. Now, was there some basketball gods looking out for Dallas? Probably. I mean, does that mean that we should trash? I mean, I've heard talk today, well, they need to redo the lottery. No, they don't. Get off of your high horse. I'm so tired of all the crap that people spin and put out. The draft lottery is one of the best things that pro sports did for the draft. It's one of the best things that they ever did. It did what it's supposed to do, John. It's supposed to give these teams that are 10, 12, 14, it's supposed to give them a slight chance to be able to get the number one pick. That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, and the chance of getting Cooper Flagg now is huge because you're bringing him in with Kyrie Irving. You got to get healthy. You got to get Anthony Davis healthy. Derek Lively's there. PJ Washington's there.
On that team with Cooper Flagg,
there's some potential.
I like it.
In that group. Yeah, there's some potential there. And then you have the Spurs going at 2, and you got, and
the 76ers got 3. And everybody's talking about, well, how the Mavericks get the number one pick, but nobody's talking about that Philadelphia jumped in front of the worst teams. Nobody's talking about San Antonio jumped in front of the worst teams. And nobody's talking about that.
Think about this. Look at the Philadelphia 76ers. They got a chance to add a kid like VJ Edgecombe to what they got with Maxey and McClain. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Edgecombe, he's one of those guys that I think he can play on the ball or off the ball. He defends really good. I think he gives them a guard rotation that will help with Joel Embiid and the Paul George.
I'll tell you one that nobody's going to talk about, John. I'll tell you one that nobody's going to talk about. If I'm Philadelphia 76ers, I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to throw it out there. If I'm Philadelphia 76ers, I'm thinking about Malawatch. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, add him with Embiid.
Y'all got a center that plays. He's a sometime guy. Okay? And I don't know about you guys, but I don't deal with that shit. Like, send him packing. I don't like the sometime playing crap is for the birds. If I was Philadelphia, I'm not so sure I wouldn't go with Malawatch. I'm just saying.
Well, got him at
don't
10
have him that high, but
they got him at 10 at the Rockets. Malawatch, but I think he would
most don't have him that high. But you put him on that roster with Philly.
You know who I wouldn't be shocked to see the Hornets go after? Knippel.
Yeah, they're 4, right? The Hornets,
because he can slot in as a starter from right out of the back. With LaMelo Ball, they got Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges. I think Mark Williams is still there.
Yeah,
Knippel is really good shooting. I think he can open up the offense a little bit. I don't think you will need to use him to keep the ball in his hands. He doesn't need the ball in his hands all the time because you got LaMelo Ball and all these other guys. He can just be your one secondary shot creator when they need him to. And he's really good on the defensive end too, but you really wouldn't need him on that end either. You would just primarily need him to be that kind of shot creator. And I think that would be a really good pick for the Hornets because the Hornets are trying to build, I think, with what they got. And I think adding him would be really, really big on their part.
But in the grand scheme of things, I hear you on that. I like Knipple. I like all three of those Duke players. I think they're good players. Matter of fact, today at the Combine, James, Sion, whatever his name was, James played. He had a good Combine day today as well.
Oh, and another name that I forgot to mention when we was talking, Jeremiah Fears will be another one taken off the board.
He will.
Fears
is going to be up there.
I wouldn't be shocked if the Wizards take him, and I feel bad for him if he does because that's a disaster. He's walking into a whole rebuild. Like it's
the poor Wizards. They ain't no better than the Bullets. They changed the name, got all that. They ain't no better.
If you're going to build a roster, though, I think you can start with Jeremiah Fears, though. I think he's good enough to take them to a new level if you get some pieces around him.
All right, John. I got a big debate. This has kind of been a big debate going on the last couple of days. So Giannis, Milwaukee Bucks, is supposedly open for the first time in his career to possible trades, okay? The last couple of days, he's kind of put out word that he is going to be open to some trades, all right? The idea and the debate here is should the Mavericks, would you trade for Giannis or would you draft Cooper Flagg? Now, before you answer that question, Giannis is 30. He's been in the league 12 years. Cooper Flagg is still 17 years old. Well, no, 18 years old right now. He will not be 19 until late December, like December 20th. So the NBA season will be 2 months old by the time he even turns 19 years old. So keep in mind, Cooper Flagg is going to start the year at 18. Giannis is going to be 30. His birthday is also in December. So would you trade for Giannis or would you draft Cooper Flagg?
It's not crazy to think about because Cooper Flagg's a generational superstar, okay? But are you wanting a generational prospect first, or are you wanting a win superstar right now? And that would be a tough decision.
What do you do here? I mean, would you offer the number one pick in a trade for Giannis?
I think
if you can get Cooper Flagg, that's what I'm saying.
I think the Mavericks are in a really good spot to trade that first pick to get an all-star and build for the future. But I think you got to draft Cooper Flagg. He's got a lot of potential. You can have him as possibly your next franchise player. I just don't see any player right now that I would trade him with. Maybe Wemby. But I like Coop's game. I think he's going to be really good at the next level. But there's that part of you that makes you want to trade for that,
stud right now.
Stud.
I mean, all-star stud right now, because that's what Giannis is.
Giannis probably has maybe 6-7 years left in him. Cooper's probably got 10, 15.
Cooper's probably got 15 or more.
If he stays healthy.
He's just 18 years old. 15 is still putting him at 33. So, I mean.
But I'm going to say this. Giannis on the Mavs would be a deadly combination. You add Kyrie Irving with what you got with Anthony Davis. You got to keep these guys healthy, though. Davis is like a walking hospital right now. I hate to say that.
I know we're talking kind of NBA here, but this is NBA versus Cooper Flagg, who was a college kid last year going in.
I do hope.
So here's my thing. I think for me, okay, to answer this question, for me, I'm drafting Cooper Flagg. I know Giannis is the right now superstar, but when you look at him, he's got 5-6 years left at peak performance, probably. Giannis does. When you look at Cooper Flagg, he could be your franchise for the next 15 to 18 years. And, he could take you – he could be the next Dirk Nowitzki for the Mavericks, just to be honest. I think he has that kind of talent. And if I'm Dallas, I'm taking Cooper Flagg. Now, having said that, if I'm San Antonio with the second pick, if I can keep Wemby and still get Giannis and trade the second pick, I think I might do that.
But you're in that instance, though, if you're going to get Giannis, you got to have a ridiculous offer, like something that is absolutely out of the wazoo.
Well, you probably got Steven Castle's probably got to be on there, the second overall pick. I mean, I'm talking about for San Antonio to do it.
Yeah. I'm talking about the Mavs and the Bucks. It's got to be one of those deals that just makes you pull the trigger right then and there. And I think you got to stay with Flagg. You can't
to answer this, to have a debate question here, I think if I'm the Mavs, I'm pairing him with AD, with Derek Lively, with a healthy Kyrie Irving, with Klay Thompson, with PJ Washington. I mean, Dallas would have a really, really nice team if they can all stay healthy.
Yeah.
100%. The only reason why they didn't make the playoffs this year is because Kyrie got hurt. They traded away Luka, and when they got AD, he couldn't stay healthy. So it kind of ruined their year. Outside of that, they were on pace to make the playoffs until 1st of February. End of January, somewhere in that range. All right. We're going to move on to some football topics. The first one, I got a few things to say about this. I'm going to keep this non-political, okay? I'm going to keep this non-political. We don't do politics here at College SportsCast, so I'm going to keep this non-political. But I will say the president is talking about putting together a college football commission with Nick Saban as a co-chair. A Texas Tech booster, a big Texas Tech booster as the other co-chair. I forgot the guy's name, but he is a Texas Tech booster. Oil guy, to be honest. Sold one for like an oil something for like $4.1 billion or something crazy. And he is a Texas Tech booster, and he would be paired with Nick Saban on this college football commission. It's kind of a hot topic right now. It is not in process right now. It's just an idea, but everybody's talking about it. John, I want to go to you first. What is your ideas? What's your takes on the possible college football commission?
I mean, I don't think college sports, this whole reform thing, is the most important thing on Trump's plate right now. I mean, he's got a lot of other things that he needs to deal with. But I also think that this doesn't mean it isn't worthy of attention. The most issues facing this is the laws and policies regarding athletes' rights to profit from their name, image, and likeness. And I think the portal and all that, they're in dire need of some common sense around here. And I think a presidential
But in all honesty, a whole lot of that, John, is going to take some federal legislation to control.
It is.
So the idea of a commission here that would go to the House and Senate with some ideas that they could vote on and create some legislation is actually not a bad idea. But I do have something else that I want to talk about here with this that I have an issue with. But go ahead.
Oh, that's all I was really going to say.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my biggest pet peeve with this. Okay. And I'm just going to flat out say it. Okay. Because that's the way I roll. That's the way I am. And I'm just going to flat out say it. My biggest issue with this is that this whole thing is being put together and called a college football commission. I don't care if your name is Donald Trump. I don't care if your name is Nick Saban. Okay? I don't care. If this is put together just to save and talk about college football, you're missing the whole damn point. I don't care if you are Nick Saban. I don't give a shit. The issue that's going on is a college athletic issue. And if you are solely focusing on college football and that's the only thing you care about saving, you can go the hell on somewhere. I don't care what your name is. That's my take. Because, listen, college basketball is just about as in bad shape as, or maybe more than college football. And I'm also going to take this one step damn bigger than that. I cover and care about women's college sports. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the shit that we are seeing and the money that's being spent, the women at a time when their game is at the peak, the attention right now in the last 2 years is at a peak, at a time when they could grow tremendously, right now is in dire straits. This is a college athletics problem. This is not a college football problem. So if you are Nick Saban, and Nick Saban, I will look right at you and I will tell you, if your name is Nick Saban, if this commission is put together, I am expecting you to stand up for all of college athletics. This cannot be about just college football. I don't give a crap that you are a 7-time national championship coach. Congratulations. Great for you. This is not just about college football. This is a college athletics problem.
It's a whole athletic issue.
It's a college athletic problems, and it's affecting everybody at every sport. You want to bring it up to just college football, then you explain to me why people who are playing track and field have to travel across the entire damn United States.
Well, and some of them are getting their scholarships cut.
Yeah. Lots of smaller sports are getting scholarships cut.
I do know where I live, they cut the swimming team out. It was the NAIA. Their whole swimming, it's gone. They'll have to go somewhere else to swim. There's no I'm not sure what the deal was, but I do know that they cut it out about a month ago where their scholarships won't be available for swimming here anymore at this NAIA school, Union Commonwealth. And that's unfortunate.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about, John. This is a major, massive college athletics problem.
Yeah.
And I have an issue with anybody, including if you're only including football in this. Because all of college athletics need problems fixed.
Yeah, they do.
Including
all the way down to
sports and women's
soccer.
Sports.
Even down to soccer.
Track and field, gymnastics, you name it.
Yeah.
They all need help.
Yeah.
Like I said, at a time where women's basketball is at a peak, here's what's happening behind the scenes that nobody's talking about. All the money, all this NIL money is going to football and basketball.
Yeah.
The women's game is fixing to be in peril because the money will not be there.
It's in that direction, that's for sure.
So you got to fix all of college athletics. That's my biggest hot take tonight, probably, just to be honest. All right. I am going to continue with some college football topics, John. These are a couple of fun things that I did this week on Facebook and our X page. I did a poll. I did 2 polls, actually. And I chose 3 coaches, kind of grouped them together. I grouped them for a purpose. I felt like these are 3 names that are really good coaches that get close, that can't quite win the big one and get over the hump. This is 3 coaches that kind of grouped together. So I asked the question, if you had to choose only one, you have to choose, who would you pick as your favorite team's college coach? Would you pick Brian Kelly from LSU, James Franklin from Penn State, or Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss? Now, I will tell you, Lane Kiffin won the polls on both. Lane Kiffin won the Facebook poll by a wide margin, like 70%. Now, the X poll, he won it, but he won it by like 4 or 5%. He had like 42% and I think it was Franklin that had like skewed, John. Just have a little bit of fun here. Who would you pick out of these 3?
Probably Lane. I'm not real sold on Brian Kelly. Now Franklin, it's a hit or miss with him, I think, because he's done some really good things at Penn State, but it just seems like every opportunity and Vandy, an opportunity
Don't forget
that
about what he did at Vandy.
Yeah, he turned Vandy around in 1 year, 2 years. I just think Lane is the proper choice here because he's the younger guy. He's established. He's got a fun offense. He's what's that, what you call it, the Aurora Like he's got that like social media type stuff. Like
the social media is fun.
He's got all that stuff, and I think. But on Franklin, I think you got to consider
he's definitely fun. But Brian Kelly's kind of fun too.
He is. I just think with Franklin, there's just so many ifs, ands, or buts with him because like he's had so many opportunities, and he's had bigger opportunities than Lane. Lane's not even got to the college football playoff yet. But I don't know, Brad. I just think the Lane's the better choice here. You look, like I said, you look at Franklin.
Did you vote in the poll?
Yeah.
Did you vote in these polls?
I voted for Lane.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think
it was interesting to me because I feel like all three of these guys are kind of close. I feel like they all have won a ton of games. They all recruit pretty well. They all have a winning scheme. It's a little different, their schemes are, but they have a winning scheme. The only problem with all three of these guys, when it comes down to it, Lane beating Alabama, beating the big games, when it comes down to it, they lose one or two big games a year.
Well, and
can't get over the hump.
To be fair, Franklin's actually got to a playoff though, compared to what Kiffin has. This year, yeah. But he just
he did.
But every time he gets to that big game, it's just like it's like he collapses every single time, every single year. He can't beat. Seems like he can't beat Ohio State. He can't win all the games that he needs to win to prove himself, and I think that's what's the biggest knock on him.
These three together. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I picked Lane Kiffin as well. I would pick Lane. The other two, I don't think they're either one of them would be a wrong answer, to be honest with you. I just think Lane is a little more fun. I like his personality. I think
that's my take on it.
I think the players and stuff relate to Lane more than they would the other two.
Yeah, that was kind of where I was going with it.
Yeah. So that's who I would pick, and this one is Kiffin as well. Just mainly for those purposes. All right, the second poll that I did this week, I grouped three more together. I done this. These are coaches that I feel like are recruiting at the top of their game. They are at strong, really strong programs and are extremely, extremely close. All of these coaches have been to at least the national semifinal game, I believe. I think with Lanning, but they at least made the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm. The first two would be my pick. The first two would probably
Mark Lanning, Steve says, or Kalen DeBoer, Alabama.
My first two would probably be my pick. I really love Dan Lanning. I think what he's building at Oregon is really, really special. To me, he's probably the next up and coming Kirby Smart, if we're being honest. He's the next big thing. I like Steve. I think he's done a really good job. Sark at Texas. I think DeBoer is doing good at Alabama. I just don't think Alabama is Saban Alabama right now, in which that's going to take some time with him being gone. But I think it's just not your regular Alabama that you normally see.
But with DeBoer, you kind of have to remember that he took Washington to the final game.
He did.
He took
He
one
did.
out of these coaches. He's the only one that's been in the national championship game. DeBoer.
He did. I just think I think he's still at a moment where he's at that prove it stage. We'll see this year without Jalen Milroe. That's going to be a tough little thing.
Who
because
wins that? Do you think Tyson Simpson?
I think he does. I mean, it's going to be an interesting battle for the quarterback position. Alabama's going to be – there's going to be some fun battles in the summer with some of their position players.
Yeah. Okay, so this poll was all over the place. So Lanning and Sark on Facebook were absolutely neck and neck. Sark would go ahead 2 or 3, then Lanning would jump ahead 2 or 3. Then Sark would go back up 4. Then Lanning would go back up 2. I mean, they were absolutely neck and neck. The last I looked, Lanning was up like 3. Okay. And they're getting close to 100 votes apiece on our Facebook poll. Now, Kalen DeBoer is way down the list. Like he's at 25 or 30 or something as far as total votes. And they're like 84 and 81 or something like that. So that's on Facebook. Now on X, Lanning won it, but DeBoer is a close second and Sark is third, which I thought was interesting.
I'm going to tell you, Brad, don't be shocked if Texas makes a run at the SEC title again. Like we talked about last week, they got that $40 million roster. It's elite.
Yeah.
They're going to have Arch Manning at quarterback. They're going to have a solid offensive line. Their schedule is kind of I wouldn't say hard. I think it's reasonable.
I think it's kind of favorable for the SEC.
I think it is for them, and they got a shot at actually getting back to the playoffs. Atlanta.
I mean, at least to Atlanta.
At least to Atlanta.
The SEC championship. Yeah.
I think Texas is there, Alabama's there. Like you said, Georgia will be back.
LSU's not getting enough love. Like Kelly's got a good roster. Like they could. Now, if he can get over the hump, I mean, he's got a good roster.
Well, he's got Nussmeier. I think he has the tools to make some plays at quarterback, and he should have some really decent offensive line protection. But the question is, some of the receivers, they brought in Barry and Brown. They brought in some guys from the portal. It'll be interesting to see how they all mesh together. But SEC, to me, Brad, I've said it since we've been covering it. It's at the highest it's ever been in terms of football. Basketball is getting there, but football every single year, those schedules, it's like a murderer's row from after the non-con schedule. It's like you go into battle every single week, and you get beat up every single night, every single week, Saturday.
Yep.
And it's tough. And, I expect the SEC to be right there in the middle of it again next year.
All right. So I'm going to dig into these 3 coaches since I brought this up. So Dan Lanning is killing it on the recruiting trail.
Yeah.
I think right now, of the 3, if you're talking about the recruiting trail, I think Dan Lanning has a slight, it's not much, but a slight edge on Sark. And Kalen DeBoer still has a little room to improve, to be honest, on the recruiting trail.
He does.
So far, after one season at Alabama, so far. All right. If you go by the programs that each one have right now, I think Sark actually has a little bit of advantage. He's been there longer. He's had more time to build his program.
Yeah, and he's got
I think
a little bit more
where
resources.
he has Texas currently, I think Sark has a little bit more of an advantage. Of course, DeBoer has only been there 1 year, and he's kind of behind if you're talking about building the program. Lanning has done an absolute excellent job in about 3 years. Okay,
Yeah,
he's
his
only been
recruiting
there.
is
I think
special.
he's only been there like 3 years, and they're close. All right.
Well,
So
he's a disciple
coaching. All right. If you're talking about offense, there's one thing that Kevin DeBoer has against Dan Lanning. And I don't know if you guys know this, but head to head, Kalen DeBoer's 3-0. Just saying, head to head, he's 3-0 versus Dan Lanning. Kalen DeBoer, when he was at Washington, had the best offense in the country.
Yeah, with Michael Penix. Yeah.
Now, he hasn't shown that yet with just 1 year at Alabama, and this year he's having to break in a new quarterback. I don't expect it this year, but the following year, if he can find his quarterback this year, we might begin to see it. I'm just bringing that up because I think Kalen DeBoer is behind these two right now, but I think it's because they've had more time at their program.
I'll say this too. Dan Lanning comes from a real high pedigree too. You know, he's a disciple from Kirby Smart. He was at Georgia for a while, and
he was,
and he's taken all the knowledge that he has, and he's built Oregon into something really, really special. You know, they're going to be really, really good next year. You know, they get Evan Stewart back. Now they're breaking in a new quarterback, but it's insanely crazy how fast he put Oregon in the spotlight. Right out of the gate, he put them right in it really, really quick and got them off and running. And that,
yeah,
and I've said
agree.
it, and I've said it. I think he's the next big thing. I think him and these three, but I think Dan Lanning's a little bit above these guys. But I think what you said with Sark is right. He's had a little bit more time. He's got the more resources to build with, and he's got a little bit more experience on a few of these guys. And I think that's what makes the difference with him being at Texas.
So me personally, right now, as far as I think Dan Lanning is a great human being and a great coach. The guys, the players love him. Kind of like what I said about Lane. For me right now, I would pick Dan Lanning, okay? However, saying that, I really think Sark might win a title before any of them. What do you think?
I think it's possible.
Do you think Sark could win a title before any of them?
I think he's got a shot this year.
Yeah, I do too.
With the roster that he's got, I mean, he's got one of the best rosters out there in the country that he's built.
I do too, man. So, anyways, those were two kind of fun polls that I did this week. Last week, when we ended the show, you said you wanted to do a little bit of talk on the top college football quarterbacks this year. So I'm going to kind of give you the run here to talk about some of your top quarterbacks. I will say this, down in Miami, Mario Cristobal today announced that Beck has been cleared for workout, cleared for everything, and he's ready to go down at Miami.
That sounds good.
So that come out today.
some of my top is this our last big topic of the night? Then we're going to go into the buzz.
No, I've got a few more college basketball stuff.
Okay.
Just
I just
quick
want
stuff.
to kind of name off a few quarterbacks that I think are going to be tops next year. I think you got to look at Drew Allar, Sam Leavitt from Arizona State is going to be really, really good. DJ Lagway from Florida is going to be one to watch. He had a really good freshman year, Brad. He took over, I think, for Mertz in the middle of the year due to injury. Now, he had some – I don't know. He had some growing pains, but there were some obvious things that showed out that he's going to be really, really good for Florida. He's very talented. He's a really good deep ball.
Sellers from South Carolina is going to be up there.
Sellers is going to be good. His turnaround is really big. Nussmeier is going to be one. Like you just said, Carson Beck will be probably another one. Can he have? He was kind of up and down last year.
Year.
Yeah. Cade Klubnik from Clemson is going to be another one.
He is.
I think Klubnik played out of his mind last year. He only had 6 interceptions all year long.
He did, like 27 or 29 TDs, something like that.
Yeah. John Mateer from Oklahoma would be another one.
That's the one that I was going to bring up. He transferred in with the offensive coordinator, Mateer did, and he was really good. I think he's going to be surprising people in the SEC.
My sleeper is going to be Taylon Green from Arkansas. I think Taylon Green's going to be good for the Razorbacks. Diego Pavia. I know that John does not like that name.
Oh my God.
But he's back. Diego Pavia. You can say what you want to, Brad. The kid wants to win.
He's just one of those nuisance kids. That's what he is.
Man. That's all he is.
He just doesn't give up, doesn't go away. He's just one of those kids.
Rocco Beck from Iowa State is one to watch. I think Luke Altmaier from Illinois is another one. Dylan Raiola, how he bounces back from his freshman year in Nebraska.
Yeah.
And then my final one, I was kind of off about this one, but I didn't know, is Avery Johnson from Kansas State. I think he's a fun quarterback to watch throw in the pocket. I think he's going to have a really good year. Then you got Miller Moss going to Louisville, which is going to be interesting for.
I mean, Brom. Listen, you can say what you want to, but Brom does really well with good quarterback. Look what he did for Schalk or however you say his name. Look what he did for him.
Yeah, he turned him around. I mean, he got him drafted. So that's my take.
First to the second round.
Arch Manning, and I think I mentioned Arch Manning. So
yeah, I mean, Arch is going to be right at the top.
There's still more out there, but that's all I got for that. We can move on
quickly. What's your thoughts on Zach Calzada? Do you think that – because I've seen a lot of lists, so far, and people are putting him at the bottom, number 16 in the SEC. Are people forgetting that he beat Nick Saban in Alabama? I'm not saying he's going to be the top. I just don't think he's going to be at the bottom of the SEC. Well, I think at the very least, he's going to be in the middle something.
Wasn't it Brad Crawford that he ranked some of his starting quarterbacks and he had him dead last?
There's a few of them. I saw it's more than one that had him dead last.
Yeah, like you said, he beat a Nick Saban Alabama team. So he's proven to be a decent quarterback. And, through summer practice, spring ball, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He loves this, the disrespect.
He went to Incarnate Wood.
And he's
just
been
to throw it out there, do y'all know another guy that went to Incarnate Wood? Because I'm pretty sure he just got drafted number 1.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Cameron Ward just got drafted number 1. Did he not?
Yeah. Yeah. And he's been given another opportunity to play in the SEC. He had that one bad stop at Auburn, but I think
that was included with injuries. He was injured.
There was a lot going on there, yeah. But I think there's a little disrespect there.
People like, he was at this terrible small school. Nobody said that about Cameron Ward, did they?
But I think a lot of it, Brad, is that there's not a lot of high hope for this Kentucky team. And the fan base is kind of growing impatient with Stoops.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I will be shocked. I'm just going to tell you straight up. I will be shocked if he's at the very bottom of the SEC. I think he's a better quarterback than that. Give me mid-pack, 8 to 10.
Here's where the problem lies, Brad. Kentucky's went 0-2 with Leary and Vandergrift. And a lot of people are –
I remember I was there. Both of them was terrible. But I think Zach Calzada is cut from a different cloth. Leary was decent. Brock was not good last year at all.
He was not, no. That was a disaster waiting to happen. It was just a.
All right, I had to throw that in there.
And I can tell you, Brad had some wild rants during Kentucky football games. Let me tell you, I had to deal with him when it was going on.
All right, John. There is some talk that the SEC and the Big Ten is trying to push through a 16-team playoff starting in 26, not this coming year, but starting in 26. And they're wanting 4 automatic bids for each conference.
I don't agree with that.
Are you okay with this?
No. I want to stay at 12. Or, wait, is it
on
8?
Top of the 16, why are we automatically giving bids? I don't care if we give bids to the champion. Why are we automatically giving bids? What happens if the 4th team in the Big Ten is 9-5? Why are we automatically giving bids to teams? I don't understand. That makes absolutely no sense to me. The 4th team in the Big Ten, or maybe the 4th team in the SEC, has 5 damn losses by the time you go through the SEC tournament and stuff, the SEC championship and stuff. Who knows? I don't know. But I can tell you right now, 2 years ago, the Big 12 champion had 4 losses. The champion had 4 losses. And you're talking about giving them a second automatic bid? What in the hell are these people talking about? Why would you want the possibility of having teams with 4 or 5 losses automatically locked into the playoff?
Well, like you said, the Big Ten's top 2 teams would meet for the Big Ten title, with both teams guaranteed to make the playoff, right? Then the 3rd place team would face the 6th place team, I think. And the winners of those games.
Please. The 6th place team might have five losses or something already.
Yeah, I mean.
How in the hell do they get in? Like, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, but
Like, I don't know. I can't even. That is so dumb. Like,
I think where we're going with college football, though, Brad, if it don't get fixed in terms of these, they're adding more stuff, they're taking away. It's not even going to look like the same game that we saw back in the early '90s. It's going to be a totally different. I'm just not a fan of trying to change things that don't need to be changed.
I don't even like 16 teams being in it. I thought 12 last
Well, and that's
year.
That's like college
we
basketball.
barely hung on to 3-win or 3-loss teams last
It's
year.
like college basketball. They're trying to add more teams to the bracket. Like, why add something that is already good to the game? Like,
just so why? So we watch mediocrity?
so
I don't know about you guys, but I'm not interested in watching mediocrity.
So you're telling me that people want to watch these playing games in Dayton like they did last year, some of these games that was terrible, and just bring more teams in like that? Like, that's
I'm John. The NCAA tournament starts for me on Thursday.
Yeah, now I watch the play.
I'll be honest with you. This play-in's been going on for, I don't know, whatever, 5, 6, 7, 8 years now. Whatever.
I watch it.
I have never paid attention to it.
Now,
Outside,
I watch the late games, the games that matter, not the 16 seeds.
I mean, maybe I might have turned them over to it just to see what the score is, or watch the last 2 minutes if it's a close game. But if you're telling me that I have paid it, if you're asking me,
I know you watched it this year.
If you're asking me if I've ever paid close attention to it, I could care less about it.
I know you watched it this year because you was watching it, the North Carolina San Diego State game.
I did. I watched part of that game, the one that was really good. I watched part of that game. But, I mean, that's it. Like, for the most part, I pay little to no attention to it at all.
Yeah.
The tournament starts for me on Thursday. That's just the truth. All right, we're going to move on to basketball. I've got a topic here, John. Both men's and women's college basketball are in discussions to add coaches' challenge instead of so many late game stoppages. Are you good with this? Would you like to see coaches' challenge instead of so many stoppages in college basketball? This is for women and for men. Now, the proposals are a little bit different. The men might have to have a timeout to do it. The women will not have to do that.
I think it's a good thing. And there's a lot of talk.
If it will stop these stopping everything like 9 times in the last 2 minutes of a damn ball game, I'm for anything. I don't care if we play with Legos. I don't care what we have to do to get that shit to stop. I am so sick of watching the last 2 minutes of ball games take 45 minutes.
Oh,
it's ridiculous.
Do you remember, was it this past year, I think, was it A&M and Vanderbilt? The last minute and a half.
God almighty.
Took 30 minutes.
Yes. The last 90 seconds of that game took 30 minutes.
And there's also talk.
It is unreal.
And there's also talk the men could go to quarters. That's
my next topic. I was going to talk about that next. Yeah.
But yeah, I think
that's my next topic. But I think so. Here's the deal with the stoppage. So instead of going to the monitor all the damn time like they're doing now, because the refs make the call whether or not they think they should go to the monitor or not right now. Instead of having it like that, they are going to make the coaches, there's going to be 5 different things that they can view, whether or not a foul was called correctly, whether or not the ball was out of bounds off of who, just things that they can challenge, okay? And they're going to let the coaches, they're going to let play continue until a coach throws out a challenge.
Well, and another thing too is the NCAA mentioned
that stopping the day every time somebody sticks foot out.
Yeah, each team would be granted 1 challenge per game. According to the rules, if a challenge is used and is successful, the team would retain its challenge. However, if it fails, a team would lose the ability to challenge a call for the rest of the game. And like you said, the team would have to have a timeout to permit a challenge. And then you got the quarters thing, which, I think would be a big change to college basketball. I think because the Euro League.
I'm definitely okay with it.
The Euro League is going to. The Euro League's got it. Trying to think. NBA, WNBA, women's. High school,
NBA's got it.
College,
yeah.
The men's college basketball is the only one that don't have that. So, now there was something mentioned.
I'm okay with it.
There was some positive momentum in moving the college game, but somebody had mentioned that there would be some potential issues regards to structures of media timeouts. And how they would do some of those, which would be interesting. But I'm all for the quarters.
There is some issues that they're trying to work out.
Because if you remember right, didn't they play with it 1 year at the Maui? Kentucky was playing Arizona 1 year in the Maui. Remember, they played quarters. I think 12-minute quarters.
I can't remember.
Is that what the girls?
I know they switched to it in the women's game 8 or 10 years ago, and the women's game has been great because of it.
Does the girls play 12-minute quarters?
10-minute quarters.
10
no,
minutes.
It's 10-minute.
It's
still a 40-minute game.
Yeah.
It's 2 10-minute quarters, halftime.
I think if
quarters.
you add,
it's still a 40-minute game.
I think if you add the 10-minute quarters to the men's game, I think you'll see a lot more. I think you'll see a lot more points scored.
Here's the deal. Here's the biggest change when it comes to this, okay? TV timeouts. That's the biggest change. Right now, there is a 4-minute timeout. Or let's call it this. There's a 16-minute timeout. There's a 12-minute timeout. There is an 8-minute timeout. And there is a 4-minute timeout in each half, okay?
Each half.
All right. If you change to quarters, there's a timeout. The way the women do it, there's a timeout after 5 minutes. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a quarter timeout. And then there's another timeout at the quarter. So you have 3 stoppages instead of 4.
Instead of 4, yeah.
You save a TV timeout, which, by the way, saves you a little bit of time, and you're not playing 2-hour and 45-minute games like they were doing this year.
And you're not having, a minute game take a minute to go, a 45-minute game where there's nothing but going to the monitor 100 times a night. I remember last year, Brad, during some of these SEC games, it was during the SEC.
Kentucky played 2 or 3.
Kentucky played 2 or 3 of them, but it was during some of these SEC games when there was a game supposed to start at 9:00. One of the games started at 7. The game didn't get on until almost 9:45, 10 o'clock because the other game hadn't ended yet. Like it was a
They
continuous
literally
thing.
were taking 2 hours and 45 to 50 minutes to complete.
Yep.
That's not a joke. That was literally they were literally doing that.
It was.
And you've got to speed these games up and quit stopping the games, quit having so many TV timeouts. Like something's got to change. I'm all for it. I like the women's game. Now, I'm not saying that they will have all the changes that's in the women's game. I don't think they'll do some of those that's in there, but just the quarters alone. Listen, John, every single basketball entity in the world plays 4 quarters. I don't care if you go international. I don't care if you go international pro. I don't care if you go international Olympics. I don't care if you go to the NBA. I don't care if you go to the G League. I don't care if you go to New Mexico, to China. I don't care where you go, to women's game, WNBA, to college women's game. Every single basketball league in the world plays 4 quarters. Men's college basketball is the only basketball in the world that plays 2 halves. I think it's pretty simple. All right, John. I'm going to close it up with this. Mark Pope had a press conference today. Did you get to see Mark Pope's press conference?
I did not.
You didn't get to see Pope's press conference today?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So Pope had a press conference today. He talked about all of his guys. He talked about Oweh for a little bit. He sounds like a guy that is expecting Oweh to be there, to be quite honest with you. He even talked about Travis Perry. He talked about being devastated to find out the news about Travis Perry and that he was leaving. He talked about Trent Noah. He talked about JQ, Jaden Quaintance. He talked about Colin Chandler and all the work that he's putting in. Let's see. He talked about Jalen Lowe. He talked about Diabate. I thought if you go back and watch the press conference, if you go to our Facebook page, it is on. I shared it to our Facebook page. It is on. If you scroll down just a little bit, it is on our Facebook page, College SportsCast, and you can watch it from there. I did share it on the College SportsCast page today, but I thought Pope sounded really good in the press conference today. He talked about he was asked about playing Purdue in an exhibition game. He brought up the St. John's game with Petito today. He was asked about spending possibly $20 million in NIL, and he joked and said, "Oh, we're going to spend $200 million," and said that it's Kentucky and that we're going to be the top echelon no matter what it was, whether you're talking about wins, whether you're talking about games, whether you're talking about playing the best opponents, whether you're talking about getting the best players, whether you're talking about spending in NIL. He said he expected Kentucky to be at the top of everything, which you can't go against that. I mean, Kentucky should be near or close to the top of everything. But if you did not get to catch the press conference, you can go to Kentucky men's basketball, or you can go to College SportsCast, because I shared it on our page, and you can watch the entire 35-minute press conference, something like that today.
So I got
a
final thing here before we go. What was your thoughts on the whole Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles first opening night. We was going to talk about it a little bit. Like,
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, John. For me, like it's a big conference rivalry.
well, I mean, a lot of people's complaining because it was Dallas.
And the thing of it is I would rather have two conference rivals that hate each other on an opening night than to watch, I don't know, San Diego play the Bucks, or you know what I mean? Like just two teams, just random, to watch the Jags play.
Well, I mean, the thing too,
San Francisco.
The thing too,
whatever.
you could have had the Lions. You know, that's what a lot of people are saying, or the Rams. But somebody said, well, you got Dallas. But I'm going to say this: there's nobody that draws a bigger crowd than the Dallas Cowboys, whether it's good or bad. They're always going to get it. They're always going to get attention. That'll be the case this year. They got a new coach.
Well, I mean, Philly's the defending champs. It's not a surprise that Philly gets the opening game.
Yeah, I think
they're the defending champs.
To me, this isn't the best matchup, but it's probably going to draw comparable or better ratings. And the NFL knows that.
Okay, if you're going to put the defending champs, because usually that's what they do. If I remember right, last year that one of the opening games or the opening game was Kansas City coming off the Super Bowl win. All right, so this year you're going to put Philadelphia on, okay? If you're going to put Philadelphia on, would you rather them play Dallas or would you rather them play the Giants?
Probably Dallas. Because the Giants are not – I don't know. I don't think the Giants are –
Okay, that makes sense to me. Let's move on. That's the way I feel about it.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, even if Dallas doesn't keep the game competitive, I think there's going to be millions of people watching the game. Like, it's not really going to –
The only one that I could think of, maybe the Commanders, because Washington had a pretty good season last year. So maybe you put them up against the Commanders.
And another thing, real quick, we got to get out of here, but the whole Pete Rose thing, I know we was going to just kind of touch on it, not go on about it.
Listen, for me, I'm glad to see that it's finally been lifted. I'm glad to see that down the road, because people are acting like this crap is going to happen next week or something. But the way I understand it, at the earliest that they could be put in the Hall of Fame would be 2028, the way I understand it. And that might be even longer than that. But so far, from what I'm being told, that's the earliest.
Then you brought up Shoeless Joe Jackson, too. You brought up him.
I've got some things to say about it, because here's the deal. Especially around where we are, Kentucky, seems like so many Cincinnati Reds fans. It's kind of sickening to me, but I'm not a Cincinnati Reds fan. But there are so many Cincinnati Red fans in and out of Kentucky. It's been that way all my life. And so many people are on this kick. Well, you know, why'd they wait till he died? It's too late now and all this other stuff. I mean, here's the deal, people. It's called a lifetime ban. I don't know if y'all can put 2 and 2 together or not. I don't know if 2 + 2 = 4 for you guys or what, but it was a lifetime ban. There have been others. Shoeless Joe Jackson was one of them. I don't know if you guys have heard of Shoeless Joe Jackson, but I'm going to be honest with you, John. It was well over 100 years ago when he was banned. He was
part of the 1919 scandal, the White Sox scandal.
1919, okay, people? And people are like, well, why did they wait for Pete Rose? Hello. Shoeless Joe Jackson is
some of it was
his grandkids are dead. Okay. I mean, come on now.
Well, and thing is, there was some stories that he was promised $20,000 for throwing the series and only received like $5,000. It's always been posing. They said he never returned the bribe. And he went on to hit like three something in the series. Like he was a big part of that World Series.
Here's the deal. All reports.
You're breaking up really bad, Brad.
That Shoeless Joe Jackson, all of his teammates throwing the series.
Yeah. So, but
my connection is going in and out.
Yeah, it's because we've been on. It's because we've been on here a while. But I just kind of wanted to bring that up real quick. So. Are you there?
I don't know if you guys could even hear any of that or not because it was.
Can I please have your attention?
What's all the commotion around here?
What are you talking about?
It's actually very exciting.